Welcome to The Revolution with Jim and Trav, where they're changing the way you look at the outdoors. This
in-depth look into invasive species, and just phone in the studio is Wildlife Forever's president, Doug Grann. And Doug, why is it that we got these tree-hugging...
We were saying that in a nice way.
Yeah,
right.
Anti-hunting, hating people, that they're all for the green movement, okay? They're all for preserving wildlife. They're all for protecting animals. But none of these organizations are stepping up like Wildlife Forever and alerting us about invasive species. Don't you think that is a bit hypocritical?
Well, we're surprised that the subject of invasive species and what we can do about it has been so slow to come before the American public.
Yeah.
But in the last year, with the Asian carp running up the Mississippi River, people pulling their boats last fall and seeing the zebra mussels encrusting their docks, their props, the public is starting to see that we have a serious problem.
Well, here's the deal, Doug. Let's just take San Francisco for example. They have there in the bay, there is 230 exotic species of fish in there, but 95% of those species now are non-indigenous. That means there's only 5% remaining. This is horrible.
Of the original stuff.
Of the original indigenous fish. And the funny thing is, most of the people that live there have no idea what is happening.
Well, the spread of exotic or non-native species has happened slowly but continually for over 60 years. And I think people are immune to slow changes in the environment. The problem today, they're so well rooted into our outdoors that change is happening fast, and we're seeing things like you're talking about in the Illinois River. 80% of the biomass today are Asian carp.
Oh,
and that used to be one of the great fisheries of our country, and today fish are jumping into your boat without a rod and reel, and not the kind we want to catch.
Wasn't Asian carp was first introduced, I think back in the 60s, by catfishermen trying to clean up their ponds and stuff, get rid of the algae. And I think I read somewhere that there was a study done where some forestry service, or whatever you want to call them, biologists, introduced them to clean up some of the zebra mussels. That has really backfired, hasn't it?
Well, there's been a lot of missteps, if you will. And it's true, the Asian carp came to clean up catfish farming, commercial catfishing. And if we didn't have floods like we're about to this year on the Great Mississippi River, everything would have been all right. But those fish that were brought in to clean the algae that eat plankton out of the catfish farming ponds were flooded, and thus started their migration up the Mississippi River. And today they're knocking on the door of the Chicago Shipping Canal. And once they're established, once they're in there, there's no stopping them. They're prolific, and they spread, and they take over 80 to 90% of everything in there. The Asian carp can grow 40 to 80 pounds.
Oh, holy cow.
Man.
Well, I know that on the Yampa River in Colorado, in a 5-mile stretch, you can catch smallmouth bass, which are not indigenous. You can catch northern pike, and of course you can catch trout. And somebody actually had to stock those in there thinking that, hey, I'd like to catch a fish here, And, boy, it's just mindless moves like that have really changed the landscape on the lakes. And, of course, you can see, these guys down in Georgia that let the hogs loose. Now they've got a cross between, Russian boars and the domestic hogs. So you got a feral hog that's big and mean and ugly. And, boy, they're just taking over.
Yeah, the feral hogs are a real problem. They're up into the Ozarks, into Missouri. They're coming north. The pythons down in the Everglades, where people turn pets loose that got too large, are a major problem, a major concern for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in the Everglades. And so a lot of these invaders have been spread rather innocently by human beings.
Mm-hmm. Now, what would you say? We've kind of asked this question about everybody. How can we become more active? How can we turn this around? Everybody's saying that, well, we just need to educate people more. Well, you got to take it a step further than that. I can go to school and I can get all the education I need, but if I actually don't go out and do something with that, I'm never going to make anything of myself. What can we physically do, Doug, to help eradicate this growing problem?
Well, once invasive species are in a lake, like zebra quagga mussels, unfortunately, they may be there forever. The sea lamprey came into the Great Lakes over 60 years ago and wiped out the fishery. They stopped commercial fishing. The sport fish, recreational fishing was all but gone, and these blood-sucking, leech-like lamprey had taken over the whole lake. Now, 50, 60 years later, science has found a way to control them. And they kill, when they spawn and go up these streams, they kill 90, 95% of them.
Wow.
But if they ever stop, they'll be back and they'll destroy our fishing. So once infested, there's very little we can do, but we can control them and we can stop the spread.
You bet. Well, it sounds like we've got a lot of things to think about and a lot of things to do.
That's right. And hey, real quick, why don't you toss out, Doug, you guys' web address and tell us a little bit about your threat campaign?
Well, Wildlife Forever's threat campaign is highlighted at our website. It's simply wildlifeforever.org, O-R-G. And when you get there, there's a brand new site. You click on invasive species, and you'll go to a site, kind of looks like a crime scene with construction tape or all around it. It's kind of scary, and it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And it says, once the invaders are here, everyone who boats, fishes, or recreates has the potential to spread them. And we tell the folks what they can do.
When you said threat campaign, I thought he was standing on the front porch yelling at somebody.
Well, absolutely. I discovered purple loosestrife in my backyard.
Really?
My son was doing his Eagle Scout project for Boy Scouts, and we thought, look at that purple flower down there in the marsh. And we actually found out it was an invasive species.
No way.
We worked to eradicate that for his project. But here's the bigger point. It had invaded my little piece of my homeland, my few acres, where I hunt, where I bird, where I run my dogs, and worked all my life to raise my kids, and their foreign invaders were taking it over.
See, Doug, you off invasive species. Now they're coming for you.
I'm coming to get you.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
You bet. Hey, we've been talking to Doug Grann. He's the president of Wildlife Forever.
That's right.